You're going to be doubting yourself so much, and then you're going to establish a connection with either a player or a family that gives you that level of reassurance that you need.
The players keep you going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the game keeps me going. I love the game of basketball.
Welcome back to Backgrounds and Break-Ins. I'm here with my guest today, Eric McElroy. Eric is the program director and founder of Path Hoops here in Atlanta. Tell us a little bit about your team.
So me and my best friend Tyson, we started Path Hoops in 2020. Really, it just started with a vision around 2015, 2016. We didn't know it yet, but we both played AAU together here in Atlanta for the North Georgia Heat. We played together for 2 years. Our program director had passed away our senior year. So he was inspiration to all of us because he was an independent team, took kids in who may not have been the best. Was like, I'm going to give you an opportunity to showcase what you can do. I mean, there were some guys in our program that couldn't dribble the ball 2 feet in front of them. But, he gave them an opportunity to play when nobody else would. So that's what fostered the idea of us starting our own program. Obviously, we want to be elite. We don't just do the AAU. We do private training, group training, consulting for clients. We started the program during the pandemic. We texted each other probably in March. And we're just like, hey, we want to get the business started, at least for the most part, and then we'll take it from there. We founded the business in 2020, and after that, it was like a year of us just doing training during the pandemic. People really couldn't go outside and do anything, so we started off training on outside courts.
How was that?
It was a challenge, but that was what was presented to us at the time.
Did you overtake a team, or you were starting your own team from scratch?
We founded this program from absolutely nothing.
Ground zero.
2 guys with a dream of just providing a better basketball experience for the up-and-coming next generation of basketball players. A lot of people don't know that PATH actually it's an acronym. It stands for Performance and Training Habits. People don't know that. They just hear Path Hoops and they think, oh, okay, like Path Hoops, like that's just the name of your team.
Oh, that's creative.
It means something a lot more than that. And that was kind of our whole idea of starting the program. We don't want this to just be another program that somebody in the city of Atlanta has started and just taking people's money. There are a lot of programs out here who charge an astronomical amount of money. They give you XYZ amount of tournaments and you practice and you play. It's just about winning games more so than actually developing these kids and teaching them the right habits, not only for the game of basketball, but moving forward in life. Your habits are who you are daily, your daily habits.
When did you get into AAU?
I didn't start playing AAU until high school. The way that I started playing basketball was unconventional. My dad would take me to the park when I was 7, 8, 9 years old, and I was playing against grown men. So I didn't have, that time really to I played against kids my own age in little leagues and stuff like that, but for a long, my summers, I was at the park.
That's where the growth happens.
5
Grown
years
men.
My dad was like, hey, do not take it easy on him. Just because he's a kid, he's out here, he's playing.
Trying to learn.
I remember, I can't remember the guy's name, but growing up, there was a guy I used to see at the park every time I went, and every single time he'd run through my face.
Oh, what?
Yeah. If I had the ball, he would just run up on me, and he was a lot stronger than me. I'm 10, 12 years old at the time. He's 30. As soon as I get the ball, they're like, oh, yeah. Going through that, it teaches you to play without the ball. Because a lot of times when you're playing basketball at a young age, you may be the best player on your team, so you might have the ball in your hands all the time. Playing when you're 12, 13 against 30-something-year-olds, they're not looking to give you the ball. You're going to have to show them that you know what you're doing with the ball when they eventually do pass it to you. Because there were a lot of games where I would play with the older guys and I wouldn't see the ball one time. I'd get mad.
You could be better than they are.
Fundamentally, yeah.
You're stronger and just trying to...
Ego plays a large part in a lot of the pickup basketballs you see, the older men.
It's unstructured.
Depending upon where you go, everybody goes to LA Fitness or whatever, and you got your runs, but a lot of this stuff is very unstructured. I would encourage a lot of kids who just want to get better, go play against grown men. While they might not be better than you skill-wise, they're stronger. A lot might be faster.
Jump higher. Taller.
They're going to make you tough.
Wow, beating up on people your age could be like...
Yeah, I mean, you got kids nowadays that are 17 reclassing and playing down in 15.
I've seen that. That's nasty work.
Yeah, I mean,
that's super nasty work.
It happens.
How about your basketball career? Or you want to stick to coaching?
I mean, we can do both. If you want to start and be like, when did you start playing basketball? And then after that, I can tell you mine.
You said your dad took you to the park. Okay.
Just beeped the mic.
I hit it. So what really got you into basketball? Was it your dad taking you to the park, or a love for the game, like watching it on TV, or?
I think it was really a combination of both. My dad was a huge basketball fan, so anybody in my family that you ask, from the time I was an infant, I was watching basketball, had a basketball with me. My dad is a Jordan fan. I don't think he's the GOAT anymore, but
that's a whole different podcast.
Yeah, my dad really got me into basketball. Had me watching from a very young age. He used to tell me I'd be in my crib watching Michael Jordan. I would definitely say that my dad is the biggest reason why I got into basketball, and it just stuck ever since I was a kid. I really fell in love with it when I started watching Shaq and Kobe at a young age. Shaq is my all-time favorite player. I know it's a little contrary because I'm 5'10", I'm a point guard, and my favorite player all time is Shaquille O'Neal.
Nobody's 7 foot, 400 pounds.
Anytime somebody asks me who my favorite player is, and I tell them that it's Shaq, they're like, "Why?
Yeah,
you're a point guard. You don't like Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, like people like that," which I do. I love them, but I don't know what it was. I know you're a big KD guy.
Slim Reaper. Yeah. It's just the art. It's just what you like watching. Like if you like a dominant player, that's probably why I like Shaq. Yeah. I like the grace. KD, something tall.
Shaq was just my favorite player. He was so big, so dominant, and entertaining all the time with the music stuff and just him being a jokester.
He understood it before a lot of people did.
He was a personality along with being a basketball player.
I grew up. I liked AI a lot. I mean, the street ball he added to the...
AI was one of the most influential players in terms of bringing popularity to the game of basketball because he was so polarizing. He was so polarizing off the court that it made you want to watch, and his game backed it up. Like, you figure his rookie year, he comes in and crosses up Michael Jordan, so now everybody's like, who is this guy?
Handle, freestyle on the court. I don't really care about the efficiency crap. Like, who cares? He shoot over 2 people making it, I'm with it.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's a dog.
Now, moving more into the coaching side, I see it where it's like, that's a really bad shot. Okay, it went in. Let me just not say anything. You see it with coaches all the time where somebody be like, why would you shoot the good shot? Let's get back on defense. We'll take it. But that's what happens when you have somebody that's a star player.
It's bad if they know they're a star sometimes, though.
Yes, I mean, that all depends on personality. You got your amazing basketball players like somebody like LeBron James, who is also humble at the same time, but on the other token, they know that, like, I'm that dude.
I can do what I want to do when I want to do it.
And then you get your head cases who know that they're good, and then they disrespect the game, and then the game ends up disrespecting you at a certain point.
Go to college, get kicked off the team, or don't make it, all that type of stuff.
I mean, don't even get me started with all these kids in the transfer portal.
We didn't get to your favorite player was Shaq. When was your first time being on a 5-on-5 team?
I would say first grade was my first time being on an organized team, going to practice, being around other kids. It's funny, I actually played in a league where I was really good at a young age. Not to toot my own horn or anything like that. But, no, seriously, not to toot my own horn. I was good at a young age, but I didn't like to pass the ball because I played on a team where it was like kids. Like my dad had me training from a very young age. I was playing with other kids who were just playing basketball for their very first time, like even coming out to touch a basketball. So I wanted to score all the points. Like I did not want to pass the ball at all. Best option, give me the ball. I played in the league, and I actually had a coach tell me, if you shoot the ball one more time, you are not going to play. Because I would shoot the ball every single time I got the ball. You can ask my dad, and he will tell you, there was a coach that literally told me, like, hey, like, if you shoot one more time, you're done. I'm not going to play you because everybody else needs to be able to learn how to shoot. So I forget, we were playing some game, and this memory sticks out to me because people call it a canon event. Playing basketball at a young age, like I was like, okay, damn, I can't score, but I'm the best player on our team. Can I not score? There was a kid on our team, I think he may have been the coach's son or a family friend of the coach, but he was really bad. We were going down on a fast break. It was me in the front and him running behind me. I was about to shoot it, and I remember what he said, and I just turned around and gave him the ball. That ended up being the first and only time he scored while we were playing in the state. He was so happy. All the other parents in the stands, I remember seeing their reaction. And I was just like, wow, sharing the ball does create positive. So I was like,
and they may need it because the confidence a player gets could help them play better on the court, like play harder on defense.
Absolutely. That happens all the time. I tell players nowadays, like when I coach them, people have to feel like they're involved. Like if I'm running up and down the court playing really hard on defense and I come down and you jack up some BS shot and I don't touch the ball, I'm not going to want to play. I'm going to be disengaged. I'm going to be like, okay, cool. Like you just come down and shoot it again. Not to say that that's right. I mean, I tell players all the time, there might be 4 or 5 possessions where you don't touch the ball. What are you going to do in that 4 or 5 possessions where you don't touch the ball, and what impact are you going to have on the game?
Set screens, try to crash,
without
spacing the floor.
Yeah. Spacing, I mean, that's something that you learn at a very young age. You get guys that come along later in basketball. Some people know how to properly space the floor, other people don't. So it's really comes down to coaching and teaching at that point when you have players that may not space the floor. It might just be they don't know what they're doing. It takes somebody to teach them. Like when your point guard's at the top of the key, unless we're running a set, you don't need to come run up to him for the basketball. Like go to the corner, go set a down screen or set a pick. Don't just run up and be like, hey, give me the ball.
They come from corner to baseline, other corner, and back up to top to try to get the ball. I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
I mean,
I see it all the time.
I watched a clip of Steph Curry coaching at his camp, and he was like, one of the weakest moves in basketball is when I have the ball and you're to the right of me, and you keep going backwards towards half court because you want the ball. Just go do something. Either set a ball screen, set a down screen, cut through, and just fill and replace.
Help people get open.
It comes down to basketball IQ, and not everybody's on the same page. So it's about really teaching them and getting them to understand why they need to be where they are and why they need to do what they do to create space for not only the person with the ball, but for them too. You can score off the ball. You don't need the ball in your hands to be able to score.
I think some of the best scorers we've ever seen are able to score off the ball.
Absolutely. Look at Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter that we've ever seen. The game of basketball.
Easily.
And his off-ball movement is constant.
It's unrivaled.
Yeah. Anybody in the NBA will tell you. Like, chasing Steph Curry for a full 48 minutes, it's insane. And after the third, fourth screen that he runs off of, you're tired of it at that point.
What is you like?
AAU as a whole is organized basketball outside of your high school sanctioned activities. You play in tournaments over the weekend, and it's up to your program director to decide what level of tournaments you play in. You can play in any tournaments anywhere in the United States. It's an opportunity to allow kids to keep developing outside of high school. Say a kid gets cut from their high school team. Now, there are a lot more AAU teams around, so there's a lot more opportunities for kids who may not be good enough. Back when I was playing AAU, there really weren't that many teams around. I realize that when I'm around my players all the time and I say stuff and I'm like, wow, that makes me sound really old.
They're not going to get a lot of jokes.
No, but that's crazy because they do. Like, we're not too far apart in age. It's not like I'm like 45, 50 saying this stuff.
We're still in touch.
No, yeah, we're definitely still in touch. And I feel like that's what's really given me an edge just in building our program so fast over the last 4 or 5 years is my ability to connect with players.
Oh, yeah, it's huge.
I'm still relatively close to their age, resonate with what they're going through. Like, they'll say stuff around me all the time. I'm like, I think I don't know what that means. Like, I'm not slick. I know exactly what you just said. Like, we know all the new lingo. I had a kid, my first year coaching high school basketball, I had a kid that, like, saw a girl and was like, man, she got a yacht.
I was in the Publix deli. So I just moved. So this is my first time at this Publix, and then this dude making a sandwich. He's tired. And he's like, yo, bro, like, this girl came in here earlier. I don't know what you think. This is so awful. But I was like, you know what I think? Okay. He's like, she came by. She said, I look good. I told her, thank you. I just finished making her a sandwich. But she had you heard of a gat? And I was like.
So he had never used it before. He was just asking you.
Yeah, you heard of a gat? And I was like, no.
He was just like, she got a gat.
But he's like, no, she had a gat. You know what that means? And I was like, what? Use context clues, so I was like...
That's exactly what...
I was like, oh, I'm out of touch. I don't know if that's like a TikTok thing.
Yes.
I'm out of touch. I don't have TikTok.
I want to make sure my shit laying flat.
So I was like, what does that even mean? And I'm in here trying to get a sandwich. But, okay, so...
We were talking about coaching, resonating with the players.
All right, so let's do this. So what's your favorite part of coaching?
My favorite part of coaching is seeing when what you're teaching them clicks and then transfers to the game. Because a lot of kids put in a lot of work, a lot of hours, and then that stuff never translates over to their game, and then they feel defeated. They're like, I'm doing this for no reason. I've been working out, getting up early. I would say that is the most enjoyable part for me. Coaching is a thankless job, but when you get certain kids and their families who really take the time out and tell you, like, I appreciate you so much because you've done so much for my son, and they see it. Like, it's not just you as a coach seeing it, because you're with them almost every day, like in practice, while they might start in a certain skill that they're not good at, and by the end of XYZ amount of time, it's like they're just like,
refining.
Yeah, it's just like refining, and that's all basketball is. Really, to me, it's just refining your skills over and over in repetitions. Like LeBron, who've been doing this for 22 years, there's always something more that you can add to your game and things that you can do more efficiently.
The best player right now, I don't think he's.
But I mean, he's
highly
skilled
in
basketball. Highly skilled, but he plays the game of basketball the right way. Knows when to hit his open teammates. Like, I mean, he's a pro, so you're gonna see some stuff that's like, whoa. But
that's just flashed. It's a base skill flashed up to the highest level.
Absolutely.
He's hitting a cutter, throwing it however he's throwing it.
I mean, he throws it behind his head or whatever. But you know, when you really start to see these kids start to see the game in a different way, it's really rewarding.
What's like the hardest thing to teach younger kids?
The hardest thing to teach younger kids is being selfless when it comes to the game of basketball. Social media has had such a positive and negative impact on the game. I've had players that struggle with this. Wanting to see the person next to you succeeding is only going to help you succeed even more. I went through this a lot too when I played high school basketball. There were dudes I would play really well against and kill, and they'd get an offer the next day. And I'm like, I'm 5'10". These kids are
a little taller or something.
Yeah. I'm looking at it like, damn, I just killed you the other day in a game, and you just got an offer to a Division I school. But I mean, these kids 6'4",
looks the part.
Like, you know,
the motor. You can't really teach the motor to kids either. You have to go and want it. Rebounding. Is rebounding a skill, or do you think it's more of a...
I think rebounding is a desire. It is a skill.
A little bit of both.
To be able to track the ball in the air, you have to have an ability to know, okay, if I shoot from the left corner, like 7-8 times out of 10, it's probably going to bounce long, either to the right wing, right corner. You know, sometimes it falls short. If it hits short, it's going to fall same side. So I would say it is definitely a refined skill, but it is more of a desire to just go get the ball. There's a lot of people, when you get taught from a young age, like, hey, box out. Okay. I boxed out, and then I don't want to box out because I don't want to get hit. That's too physical. Like, I'd rather just look at the ball, see where it's going to go, and then try to go get it.
When it comes to
me, or I'm just going to jump, you know, and that's my effort to rebound. But no.
Coaches can see that too.
That falls under motor. I think defense and rebounding all fall under motor. Those are two things that you really have to want to do. It's physical. You're getting hit every possession. You're rebounding, you're going down there, you're hitting somebody and trying to pursue the ball at the same time. Not everybody is built for that.
Not even a little bit. Especially the more jump shooting you're seeing, the less physical play people want. Smaller players don't want to crash the board. If they can go get the ball.
When you put yourself in a position like that as a smaller player, there's definitely a greater opportunity for you to get hurt.
That's also true. That builds toughness. You were just saying you were small.
Yeah, I was.
All the small NBA players are like...
I mean, it's like, NBA we're talking about. I mean, when you look at a guy like Josh Hart, he should not be able to rebound the way that he does. I think he's like 6'4". Like you said, he averages like 10 rebounds. Yeah, he should not be able to rebound that way against 6'10", 6'11", 7 foot. But you watch him and he pops off tape. This dude is pursuing.
He wants it.
So I think that's a large part of what basketball is. It's just really wanting it.
This is actually really good. I told you, once you start talking, it's kind of easy. I'm trying to think what I'm going to say. What we'll talk about next. You want to talk about what you want next for Path Hoops? Or we can talk about your season. You want to out your players? How'd your season? So how was your past season?
This past year, we did probably our best year that we've done. We actually were an On the Radar circuit team this year.
What does that mean?
On the Radar is a company based here in Atlanta that runs a lot of the tournaments you see on the weekends. And they do a lot of stuff out of state, too. They do a really good job with the events that they have. They bring in camera crews. They bring in writers just to bring attention to more kids that may not have gotten the attention they needed during the high school season. So now they're playing during the summer, and it's like, hey, this kid is really underrated. Somebody needs to come take a look at him. So they've got scouts, they've got camera riders. They've been doing this for a long time. But the circuit teams started this year. So basically you play a sanctioned schedule with all of their events. They add up your overall. It's basically like Nike EYBL, UAA, stuff like that, just without the same level of notoriety and sponsorships. Be endorsed by a shoe company. It's just a way for them to, kind of create more of a competitive environment, because now you're competing for something. Like every tournament matters. You're not just coming to these showcases, because they don't do a lot of their tournaments. They're just showcase style.
Okay, what does that mean?
The difference is like a showcase style tournament, you just go, you play 4 games, that's it. Normally when people hear a tournament, they think, okay, we play 2 or 3 games in pool play, get seeded, go into bracket play, competing to win the tournament. A lot of their events are just showcases for you to play, get better, and develop, which was a huge reason as to why we wanted to partner with them. Not only the way that they run their events, but the opportunity that it presents with the exposure standpoint.
So everybody plays 4 games, regardless of how good they are?
Everybody plays the same set amount of games. They've done a couple different tournaments this year. This year they partnered with Hoop Scene, and they actually did a tournament style where it was bracket play. So that was a good event for us at Sewanee Sports Academy in Sewanee. Hoop Scene is also a really good company.
Plug them. You plugged Shaq, Josh Hart, and Hoop Scene, and Sewanee Sports Academy. I need some sponsors.
I am giving a lot of sponsorships.
Yeah, more than they deserve.
Yeah. But no, this year we did really well. Like I said, this is probably the best year that we've had. I had a lot of guys that returned from last year's team, so we basically ran it back with the same team, just with a couple new pieces. This year was definitely a special group for me because I had a largely dominated unsigned senior team. So I had one of my kids, Q, that has played with me since he was a sophomore. He played up. When we started Path Hoops, the way that I started it was kind of unconventional as to how you should approach building an AAU program. I kind of just jumped in the deep end, like, hey, I'm going to go 17U. Like, I want to get the best of the best team that I can get, and I want to go crack some heads. I found out very quickly my first year that was not how it goes. My first year, we had a lot of talent. We had a lot of talent my first year that we started doing this. When we started Path Hoops, it was literally just doing private and group training and the consulting aspect side. And when we finally did our first year of AAU, we actually had a good team together. That was when I really found out a lot about myself as a coach, because a lot of the team really fell apart. I think we had like 11 or 12 guys, and I think we might have ended with 8.
People wanted to do something different or leave.
People not agreeing with my coaching style, which, I mean, that happens every day in basketball. So
that's normal. It's
something that you have to look in the mirror and ask yourself, okay, could I have done anything differently to have a better relationship? Is there anything that I could do better from a coaching standpoint? I found out a lot my first year. I think we started with 11 or 12 guys, ended with around 8. It's hard.
Yeah.
I had one kid leave because he was like, I don't really agree with the way that you sub. I feel like you sub out the players that are making the run, and you put your starters back in, the guys that you're showing favoritism to, or whatever.
You're just sticking to what the clipboard says, and not what I feel.
Having that reality check and just saying, okay, am I messing up when certain people make the runs, and then putting my starters back in because I want them to be the ones to finish the game, or am I going to trust the guys that made this run to finish the game?
With coaches is I think players have to also buy into the coach and like what the coach is telling them, and if they're not 100% in, you can kind of get the vibe from that. Like he's not trying to do what I'm trying to tell him to do. Even the mannerisms of like the...
That's one thing that I absolutely hate as a coach. There's nothing worse than trying to tell a kid, hey, this is what you need to be doing to be better. Like, you messed this up, and this is what you need to do. And they're like... Or you go to sub them out, and they turn around and look at you like...
How dare you?
There has to be a level of trust there.
We're on the same team.
Yes. We want the same common goal, I promise. A lot of times, the more you're around your team and the kids, you start to get a feel for the level of trust that's there. It's my first year. I had a kid that left. So we were about to go into a live period event. This was after 2 or 3 kids had already dropped off. So we're about to go into an NCAA live period event, which is a sanctioned event where all the D1 coaches can come out and watch. To register your team, you have to go on the NCAA website and enter everybody's name. Once you're locked into a team, you're locked in. So I get everybody in on the roster who we could have. There's one kid I couldn't get in. So I'm like, hey, what's going on here? Did you set up your account? I can't register you. The next day, I log in again to try to fix it. It's like, this player's already registered to another team. So I call his family and I'm like, hey, what's going on? I just want you to shoot it straight with me. I'll never hold a grudge against anybody. People have to do what they feel like is best for them at the end of the day. And that's just all walks of life. That's why I always tell kids, basketball is such a great tool, and I am so glad that I played basketball for such a long time. I feel like sports in general, it just teaches you a lot about life.
Oh, yeah.
Like, again, habits. So you wake up every day. We have 6 a.m. practice every day. 6 a.m. Like, you got to wake up. That's like you going to work.
Yeah.
You go to college, and if you're on a scholarship, if you're not performing, your scholarship might get pulled. Yeah. So if you're not performing at work, you don't have a job anymore. So what are you going to do?
You build a routine, build camaraderie, trust, accountability. All those things come.
Absolutely.
So where do you see Path Hoops going in the near future, and what do you want to grow it to?
So I would say our ultimate goal is to grow it to full scale to where we have multiple teams for multiple age groups. Right now, it's just been me and Tyson piggybacking it together. Hopefully next year we'll have more teams, and the year after that we have more teams. Obviously look into a shoe sponsorship, whether it be Nike, Adidas. You got to perform really well to get the attention of Nike or the top 3, Nike, Under Armour, and Adidas. Those are probably a little harder to break into. But, you've got some new ones coming up, like on the radar. They're not a shoe company, but it was just more of a way to get us some recognition, a circuit team for this company. But hopefully we'll get either a Puma deal or some type of shoe sponsorship within the next few years. And there's a lot that comes with that. You do have to perform to keep your sponsorship.
The hardest part of running a team? Performance, or more so like
the hardest part of running a AAU program? I would say, it depends on what your goal is. There are a lot of programs where their goal might not be to get a shoe company to sponsor their team. Like I said, my goal, I love to win, I love to compete, and give kids the best opportunity to do that. The highest platform for them to do that is on the EYBL circuit, the UA Rise circuit, and the Adidas Gold circuit. If we can full scale this and get multiple teams in different age groups, get these kids the recognition they deserve, and hopefully just provide some opportunities for kids who want to play college basketball at the highest level.
So how would you sell a kid that wants to join Path Hoops over a different AAU program?
Right now, my selling point to kids is you have an opportunity to be a focal point of your team. The biggest challenge that I face right now, because we're an independent team, sponsored by anybody.
What does that mean? You provide everything for your team, like merchandise, branding, gym hours, sessions, everything like that.
When you're an independent team, you handle everything on your own. It is up to you to find a gym, practice, pay for, obviously you charge your player fees to where some teams don't. You got people that are paying for everything out of pocket.
Travel.
But yeah, when you're an independent team, it's all on you. It's in the name, independent. You got to find a gym to practice. That is the hardest part of being AAU team in general.
Finding a gym?
Finding a gym to practice. That's not going to try to whack you over the head for $250 an hour.
They know you need it.
Yeah, if I don't pay this $250 an hour, the gym's still going to be empty, so why are you trying to charge me $250 an hour? There's so many more teams around now. Everybody's using gyms. So space is limited. Okay, our gym is at a premium. We're in a premium location. That's where building relationships with people comes. I've been fortunate enough over the last couple of years to have people that have provided gyms for us at a highly discounted rate, willing to work with us. Finding a gym, paying for the tournaments, travel to the tournaments if you're traveling with your team. Everything that we do for the most part is local. We try to do one out-of-state tournament every year.
How far, like Florida or Texas?
I'm a firm believer that as an independent team, if you're not on a national circuit, you don't need to play in a tournament outside of the state you're touching. We're based here in Atlanta. I'm not going to take them to Nevada to play in a tournament. We're going to try to touch local schools within the general proximity that are going to make a trip. Like, if I really like this kid, okay, I'm in Jacksonville, he's in Atlanta, I'm going to go up there and see him.
Yeah, makes sense.
I just run mine the way that I want it to be run and how I would want the program to be run if I was a parent with a kid in this program. That's really where my perspective is. I look at it like, okay, if I had a kid right now, would I bring my kid to this program? A lot of the kids that I've gotten, I do recruit. I'll go to showcases where there's games, multiple, and I'll go to individual games too. When there's multiple games, like at a showcase here in the city over the weekend, I'll go watch and see who sticks out, jot down some notes, and then see if I can get in contact with their family first, contact the family and be like, hey, right now I've been targeting kids. I know I'm not going to get the high-level players. When I see a kid that's 6'8", can dribble, shoot, dunk, and is super athletic, so does an Adidas program or a Nike program or a UA Rise program. So they can offer that kid a lot more than I can, which is fine. Like, if you're at that level, I want you to go play at that level. And obviously go experience that, because that's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You're getting free flights, free food, free shoes, free gear. But I try to target kids that are kind of like on the fringe, like of being a really good player, could be a really good player and could go play in college, and they're just not getting the opportunities that they need to.
You're trying to push them to be a great player.
Yes. And really just a great human being at the end of the day. If the basketball stuff doesn't work out, who are you outside of basketball? Knowing yourself, like,
that's big.
Building a relationship with these kids, like, hey, you know, you can put all the work and then it just might not work out. Who are you going to be when that ball stops bouncing? Value all of the time that you have here with the game of basketball that you have right now, because eventually the ball does stop bouncing one day. So
that's true. You're building better habits, and you know,
trying to. Like I said, my techniques and my philosophies aren't always the best for everybody, and that's perfectly fine.
Are you more of like a family environment compared to Nike?
Oh, yeah.
You know, every year you're more so trying to cultivate a real bond with your players.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trying to grow together, one accord, one page type deal.
Like I said, my guy Q played for me as a sophomore. Shout out to Q. If you end up watching this video,
we'll send it to him.
I don't want to play favorites, but Q is one of my favorite players that I've ever coached. He's just a personal favorite for me because he was a kid that came to me as a sophomore and played up in the 17U division. He was in a situation at his school where he wasn't getting a lot of time. He played JV his sophomore year, played up with me in the 17U division that summer, went to varsity his junior year, didn't see any minutes. Came back his junior year again to play with me. Went back, had an injury, going back into his senior year, missed some time, and didn't get the time he wanted his senior year. But he just stuck with it. At any point in time, he could have been like, this is not for me. I want to go play with a program with more notoriety. The fact that he believed in me and the program with us being new, and he bought into the vision that we had, those are the type of players that we want in our program. Like you said, Nike and Adidas and Under Armour teams, and not even just those teams. AAU is a revolving door of players. You might have one player next week, and then next weekend he's playing with an Adidas team, and then the weekend after that he's with an Under Armour team. I mean, that's fine. You do what you want. I've always been a firm believer of you play with one program, you get your name, and that's where people are going to know to come watch you play. If I go off in a game playing for Path Hoops, and then the next weekend I'm in South Carolina playing with this other team, a coach might be like, okay, I saw this kid play with Path Hoops. I know he's going to be in Georgia. Let me go check him out. And then they come and you're not there. It's like,
what's going on? Where'd he go?
When you get these kids that are high-level Division I prospects, it doesn't matter where they play. He's going to be in South Carolina this weekend. We're all going to South Carolina.
Everybody's going. They know where he's going to be. So how do you keep track of the movement? Or do you just focus on your team? I mean, like movement from other AAU teams. Or do you just focus on what you have and the schedule you guys have?
I'm singularly focused on us. If we don't get better, we don't grow as a program. I am always looking to get better every single year. I want to bring in kids who are going to make the program better and leave the program better than what they found it, which is what the guys that I've had over the last 2-3 years have done. Jelani, who came in and played for me my first year, helped solidify the foundation of the program along with Q. Him and Q played alongside each other. And then getting guys like Aaron the next year after that. There's a funny story. I had a kid last year. His name is Tage. He goes by Tage. His name is Tajiri. He came to us after the third tournament. He DM'd us on Instagram and was like, hey, do you have any open spots for your team? I heard about your program. Can I come to practice and try out? And like I was looking at his profile and I'm like, there's nothing on here. There was a couple highlights of him dunking by himself. And we had a couple kids fall off. So I was like, let me invite him to practice. Clearly he's in need or he wouldn't be reaching out. So let me give him the opportunity. So he comes to practice and I'm like, yeah, we'll take you, because he could play. And he had a motor that ran very, very hot. He just needed the opportunity to play. And he was relatively new to basketball. He played soccer the majority of his life and told his parents, hey, I don't want to play soccer anymore. I want to play basketball. got cut freshman year, got cut sophomore year. So he transfers to a different school. He's ineligible for half of his junior year to be able to play, so he had to play JV. But yeah, he came to us, came to practice. We go to the first tournament with Lake Point, and first game we played, it was just slow, sluggish. I told him when he came in, you're new here. I don't know what type of minutes are going to be here for you, but I promise you I will give you an opportunity to play. I played that boy. Next game he started.
What?
I swear. It's a true story. He played the first game. I don't even know if he played in the first half, but when I put him in the game, he played so hard and so passionate. I told all my guys after the game, he just got here. He has never played for me before, and he's playing harder than any of you all just played in that game. And I know y'all can match his intensity, so why do you not? So I started in the very next game.
Even if he's not the most skilled player, his heart and what he was doing on the court made you.
No, he had skills, but it was the passion and
drive
that he played the game with. I was like, I have to start him. Like,
it can bleed into the other players too.
I'm starting a guy that he's running out there, you're just like going through the motions. And I'm not that type of coach. If I see you just going through the motions, I'm going to call you out. Whether you like me calling you out or not, and how you respond to that is going to be up to you.
I'm the coach.
My job is to coach you and make you better and hold you accountable, which I feel like is a large part that's lacking into just youth basketball today. Like, there's no accountability. You play bad, you don't like a certain coach, you just transfer to another team. It's not me. It's the coach. He doesn't put me in the right positions. I'm just going to go to a new team. So it's like, okay, you've been through 7-8 programs already. Let's take a look in the mirror. Yeah, and I mean, that's not to call a kid out or anything like that. But, there has to be some level of accountability from the player and the parent. But, I mean, it starts at home. You send us your film. We analyze it and break down for you and, like, create small segments where it's like, okay, on this possession, you did this, but you didn't see, boom, you had a wide open man over here, you drove into two people and turned the ball over. Helping them see the game from a different perspective. You're out there, the game is going very fast, going through the motions. It doesn't slow down for a lot of people. I think allows you to see, okay, this is where I messed up. Now I know when I go back and I'm in that same exact situation next time, I can make that read that I'm supposed to make. We did no AAU the first year of the program being founded. The AAU thing was definitely more of my passion because I saw the impact that our AAU director had on us and opportunities that he provided other guys and the bond of the team that he created. I wanted to be able to give that back to another generation of basketball players coming after me. After I finished playing, I was like, you know what? I do want to do the AAU side. What started me wanting to start my own AAU program was coaching with another program.
Oh, wow.
So when we started Path Hoops in 2020, I was coaching with another program at the time with the idea of like, okay, hey, I'm going to like...
Leverage?
Not leverage, but I want to see how this works before I jump in the deep end by myself. I had been coaching with NYO, Northside Youth Organization. They had started a program, the Atlanta Bucks. Okay. I was coaching with them for 2 years, really just seeing how you run a program, sharpening my sword as a coach, and not even as a coach, just as a person running a business. Because at the end of the day, this is a business. We offer more than just AAU. Like, we do our private training, one-on-one group training, so setting all that up. And I've been fortunate enough to be around enough people that have been in this of basketball to really learn a lot. I wanted to take what I learned and bring it into my own environment and put my own spin on it. And I encourage anybody that is really passionate and knows what they're doing, like, hey, start your own program. If you really love basketball, especially the former players and stuff like that.
All right. Well, you're 5 years into your program, so what would you tell your former self or someone who's just starting a program to give them a heads up or a boost on what to expect or tips on how to be better? What would you give them?
Bestest piece of advice that I could give them is, if I'm talking to my younger self 5 years ago, I'm going to just tell myself to be patient. When we started this, I jumped right into 17U. Be patient. Maybe start with a younger group. Build up. Start with 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, and then build that longevity of having a program. You get kids when they're 12 years old, and then they play together 13, 14, 15, then 16. Trying to recruit 17-year-olds off the rip. They're already kind of established, they're already polished, versus you get them at a younger age, you help them develop into a better player, and then you really establish a connection at a young age, and then you grow together.
Are they a little set in their ways the older they become, or is it more so like molding clay as the younger kids are like molding? You can make them, shape them to how you want them to play.
I wouldn't even say shaping them how you want them to play. I would say more so like shaping them like how they should be playing. The biggest challenge with getting kids for a 17U team is they need the best exposure that they can get. So if you go trying to recruit against other programs where they're on the Nike EYBL circuit, this is going to be the best possible exposure that you can possibly get. And if you're good enough to play on that team, you need to go play on that team because they're going to provide a different level of exposure for you. It's Nike. I'm a small fish in a very, very large pond. I'm a big Nike guy.
Me too.
I love Nike. Hopefully one day, I mean, that's our main goal is to end up being on the EYBL circuit. But yeah, I would just tell my younger self to be patient. Building a program comes with time, and it's not all about winning.
Yeah.
I stepped in. I wanted to be on the 17U circuit. I wanted to win right away. I wanted the best players, and I slowly started to discover over time it doesn't work like that. You get kids at a younger age, they get better with you, and then it's like now you're 16, 17, going into these tournaments, being able to fight against the top guys.
I'm new to AAU coaching. You tell somebody to keep going, or what would you give them for advice to help build the organization up?
I would say it's probably a mixture of both. You got to look at your talent at the end of the day. That's when my director side comes into it because you have to look at the level of tournament. There's different level of tournaments that you can play in. Like
where are they?
Everyday weekend tournaments like YMCA, YBOA type skill level. Like there's different skill levels to different tournaments. On the Radar is very competitive.
Okay.
Hoop scene, very competitive. Big Shots, very competitive. You get teams in there that don't belong. That's when being a good program director comes into play because you have to evaluate your team and say, are we good enough to play in these tournaments against these top teams? We know the level of competition that's going to be there. Are we good enough to go into these tournaments and be competitive?
What's better, in a big tournament or to be very competitive or win smaller?
I think when you start playing in smaller tournaments and realizing like, okay, we're winning by 25, 30 points every game. That's when you've got to start to reevaluate. Like now it's time for us to move up into the next skill level.
Next step.
Because I grew up playing against 20, 30-year-old men as a kid, 10, 12 years old. I'm a firm believer that playing up is going to get you better faster, but you also run the risk of losing these kids. If we're going to these tournaments every weekend, we're getting our head kicked in and not even competing at all.
They lose confidence.
Yeah, I mean, they lose confidence, they lose interest, they lose the overall, because at the end of the game, at the end of the day,
they lose confidence in their skills, but like in the team. If my team's losing a whole lot, why do I want to be there?
Yeah, and they lose confidence in the team, the coach, themselves, and they're going to start to look at themselves like, am I really not good enough? Why am I going to keep going to practice every week and showing up to the tournaments and we're not getting better? And that was a big problem as to why we lost a lot of kids our first year. We were losing a lot of games.
Unprepared.
And a lot of that falls on me. I had us unprepared just from a preparation standpoint. I was still figuring out the stuff that I wanted to do as what I wanted to run. And I leaned a lot more on the offensive side of trying to run plays during AAU. I had the whole kit of 15, 20 plays that I was trying to run. Can't do that.
Got to run what's best for the team and for the players.
That's part of figuring out when you're new, figuring out
what works.
Being patient. You can't have 15, 20 plays that you're going to run. You only see these kids once or twice a week for practice, and you see them on the weekends, and they've got 1,000,001 other things going on at the time. They're not going to remember these plays. That's stuff you got to do for high school. I realized that pretty quick.
How do you inspire a kid that's lost confidence due to losing?
Just really asking them if they love the process. Is losing making you want to prepare more, get in the gym more, or is losing making you say, hey, this isn't fun for me, I don't want to do this anymore? Because there's a different level. When you look at guys like Kobe Bryant, losing is going to take you to another level of anger. I'm going to be so prepared the next time I play that nobody is going to get in my way.
Losing can't wait for the next opportunity to redeem themselves.
Yes.
Well, some people could lose and kind of like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm kind of done with this. So Path Hoops is looking for more so players that can keep going, push through the adversity.
Perseverance, for sure. Like I said, if I would have accepted the outcome of our first year, Path Hoops would be no more. We did not win a lot of games our first year. Until the end, we won games here and there, but there were a lot of tournaments we were going 0-3, 0-4. We were playing tournament style, so we weren't getting the opportunities to play in the bracket play on Sunday. So, I appreciate all of the players who have come through my program, especially the ones that have stayed and took the lumps with us, because I know it hasn't been easy on them as players, but it for sure has not been easy on me as a coach, because I hate losing more than anything. Like, I mean, you've known me for a long time. Like, I am an ultra competitive person, and figuring that out, knowing that I'm an ultra competitive person, I had to
weaponize. You trying to weaponize it, or are you trying to
not weaponize it, but like I try to share that same level of ultra competitiveness with any player that plays for me. Some people aren't as competitive as I am, and that's fine. You see that all the time in sports. It's cool. There's people that are competitive, and then there's people that it's like, I have an itch to win. I hate losing. Losing sends me to, like, I mean, it's something that I've definitely had to work on. Like, because when we were losing in the beginning, I would get real down on myself. Why am I doing this? Am I doing the right thing? Am I putting these kids in the best situation? Should I even have an AAU program?
What was your conclusion to that?
I belong here. My conclusion to that was I belong here and I am doing the right thing. Yeah. I mean, there's certain situations and relationships that you're going to build with kids over time that are going to show you, like, hey, you're doing the right thing. My very first year coaching basketball, we had started Path Hoops. This was 2021. I was a middle school coach at a small private school here in Atlanta. So we went through the whole season, had a good year, made the playoffs, and then we lost our second round playoff game. So after the game, I was beating myself up, like, man, I didn't have my guys prepared the right way. Like, I could have done so much more, yada, yada, yada. Like, I felt like a failure as a coach because we lost in the playoffs. So I'm driving all the way home.
Tough ride.
I check my phone as soon as I pull in the driveway, and I had a text from one of my players. This is the same night we had just lost. He texted me in a paragraph, and he was like, Coach, I just wanted to thank you so much for everything you've done for me this year. Wow. You've taught me so much, and I appreciate you showing up every day and making this fun for me. Those are the small moments where you get that reassurance. You're going to be doubting yourself so much, and then you're going to establish a connection with either a player or a family that gives you that level of reassurance that you need.
The players keep you going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the game keeps me going. I love the game of basketball. I'm blessed to still be around the game of basketball. Starting this was like, okay, this is a way for me to still be around the game, even if I don't continue to coach in the future. If I just stay on the director side of things, I'm still around the game. I come in the gym and see our teams practicing and stuff like that. Like, I love being around the game of basketball.
Love for
I hope not. It's the one thing that's been a constant in my life. You get out of it what you put into it. You show the game love. I see coaches all the time who didn't even play in high school, and they just love the game so much that they study it, and then they get into a Dobo role, like a director of basketball operations, and then they move into the coaching side. It can happen all that quick.
Who have you taken influences from as a coach? Any coaching styles or strategies you've implemented into your coaching?
Yeah. So my first year that I was at the private school, there was a guy named Andrew Tulo. He was the head varsity coach there. He really took me under his wing.
Andrew.
Was a pretty influential role in me continuing with the coaching. He was like, you're somebody that shows up every day. I can tell you love the game. Just keep going. So I tried to adapt his coaching style. I tried to take a little bit, a piece of everybody, and just mold it into like what I want to do, because there's so many great coaches out there.
Oh, yeah.
I just worked with Byron Taylor. Was a Division I assistant and head coach for almost 10 years. Anytime I got the opportunity to sit down with him and pick his brain, because he's been to a level that I haven't been to yet. He's seen things that I haven't seen. He's been on both sides, on the recruiting side, the assistant side, the head coaching side. So getting to pick somebody's brain that has been in different experiences and situations is a learning experience.
A willingness to learn.
I would say that as a coach, you have to have that willingness to learn. Those coaches that are stubborn, that are like, it's my way or the highway, get fizzled out.
Who are some of the coaches that you look up to as a coach?
Some of the coaches that I have looked up to, some of my favorite guys.
Any sport.
I'm a big Steeler fan. Anybody that knows me will tell you that I am a die-hard Steelers fan. You cut me open, I bleed black and yellow. Mike Tomlin is one of my favorite coaches.
Great coach.
Totally unrelated to basketball, but just like being a leader of men and getting people to follow you and buy into your vision, that says a lot about you as a person. If people are drawn to you and they buy into what you're selling, you could be a fish. If I'm selling you water and I really believe in this water, they'll be like, hey, I got to go with this guy. But Mike Tomlin is definitely one of my favorite coaches. Eric Spoelstra, another one that's a long tenured head coach. These are all culture guys.
All right, Eric, so tell me what we have here and why this is your favorite snack and how this got you a job in coaching.
Peanut butter cups. It's been my favorite snack since I was a kid. I have a weird love for peanut butter, and the peanut butter and chocolate combination is just unmatched. It gives you that sweet, savory type deal, sweet and salty. I really like Reese's. A lot of people have a peanut allergy, so it keeps people away from me. If I'm sitting down somewhere coaching, they're like, oh, that guy's got a Reese's, let me stay the hell away from him. Right. You crack one of these open, and you got a peanut allergy, you better stay away from me. A lot of people don't like Reese's because they don't like peanut butter. But if you don't like peanut butter, I just think you're weird.
I'm a Pieces guy.
Pieces is like a different recipe. This is more like a nice snack that you can enjoy. My last one was actually double wrapped, so I don't know what that means. What? So you know how they come in little cups, and then you like unwrap it? Mine had another wrapper in it. Lucky. You miss good luck.
No, I'm lucky. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like as a Halloween candy, this is pretty top. I'm more of a Snickers, personally.
Snickers is not bad. Snickers is top tier.
Thanks for joining us, and come back to see more.